How are you, Carrie and Corin?
Oh, really good. I like all the background in your on your screens, all the posters and all the amplifiers. Look at that
Yeah,
orange, look at that orange amp head and that
yeah.
Soldano. Pretty
It's
cool.
a
Oh, and all the
70.
pedals.
Oh,
Look at all those
wow.
Yeah,
pedals.
Got your setup. Nice.
yeah. This is 74 orange. Actually, that's one of my questions. I think you guys are like gear freaks too, right?
I love gear.
I can see you have a really good HP
Pr-
printer there.
Thank you. Yes, I like to show off my printer in the
With
background.
a fuss on it.
It's the least uh I feel like printers are the most sporadic electronic in any house. Like they are the least reliable. They never work. They work 1 out of 10 times. And
Totally agree.
it's in the backdrop of all of my Zooms here.
Yeah, I
Oh
always
yeah.
try to use a printer and they stuck the paper
No,
or
they're useless. They're
useless
useless.
since they begin. It's the same thing 30 years ago.
You'd
Yeah,
think
it's
they would
e-
have, yeah, you'd think they would have improved the technology.
it's easier and cheaper to go to a fucking like Home Depot or something.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Corin, Carrie, who is the more gear freak there? Corin or Carrie?
I think Carrie.
No, both of you, I would say.
We both like gear, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your most treasured like piece of gear that you have?
Mm.
I'm sort of
Uh,
embarrassed to say that my Klon Centaur, which is, it's so annoying because I don't know why it became so expensive. When I got it, it wasn't that expensive, but it's a really good overdrive pedal. And, they found a way to emulate it. You can get one now. You can get a copy of a Klon for very cheap, but I have the original and it's probably worth more than anything else I own.
I feel it, but you think it worth the money that people is asking for it? It's that good? I never
No,
tried one.
it's not worth the money people are getting it for now, but I bought it 10 years ago and it was $500, which is not
Yeah,
that crazy. Now it's
yeah.
like $3,000. It's insane.
And you use it live in situations?
I use it all the time. It's almost always on. So it
So
is
it's
worth
good.
it.
It's good.
It's good. It's that good.
And you, Corin, what's your favorite piece of gear?
Well, my favorite piece of gear just got stolen last year. It was my
Ooh.
Showman amp head. It was really a bummer. But I got another one off of Reaver. So I'm okay. I survived.
Always looking hunting in reverb.
Yes, always. Always.
If you guys come to Mexico, I will bring you to we have here like a market on Tuesday. So people go there and sell stuff, and maybe you can find some cool stuff.
Okay,
Nice.
that's a deal. We'll do that.
Actually, guys, you were here recently.
Yes. We just played a Corona Capital at the end of
I
2023.
actually I saw you like I was standing like 1 feet away from you, and we were like waiting for the people there to tell us like, oh, can we have some minutes with Sleater Kinney or not? And I was just standing there looking at you, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna just say hi, but at the end I didn't.
Well, you should
But I
have
saw
said
you.
hi. Okay.
I was looking at you girls like you were in some spot, like sitting in a couch answering some guy's questions, like, but it was like it seemed weird.
It was weird.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It was very
Actually, I
random.
have a picture. Let me see if I
Let's
can
see
find a
the
picture.
picture.
But what did that guy was asking? What kind of things?
It wasn't really about the music. I think he was asking us about some object on his table. And he said,
I could imagine that. I could imagine that. Yeah. So, girls, you guys are releasing a new album, which we all love. Actually, we released a review of the album on our website, which you girls can read it.
If you speak Spanish.
Exactly. But I was curious because we have also like a record store here. Well, we are trying to have a record store, and we have this album from, I mean, it's 1997, I think so.
yes.
And what's the best memory of this album? Because this was important, even the album by itself, mostly for you as a person, but what means to you guys?
I mean, that's a seminal album for us in many ways. It was our first album with Janet Weiss. We recorded in a terrible snowstorm up in Seattle, and we were staying at my mom's house, and it was hard to get to the studio. We had to dig our van out of a snowy, icy parking lot every day and drive it in. And we recorded the whole thing in 10 days, recorded and mixed. So yeah, that was definitely the album that brought Sleater Kinney to a bigger audience. We really love that record, and we still play a lot of songs from it live.
And
Do you think?
compared to
Yeah, go ahead, friend.
compared to this new album, Little Rope, that you mentioned, Dig Me Out was like pretty much done in 10 days under a snowstorm, and in this background. And now, how was those conditions for this new record? Did you guys like how long did it take to be done? I guess it wasn't done under a snowstorm, and you guys weren't staying at your mom's house anymore.
No, this album also was not recorded in we don't really luxuriate in the studio. We're not one of those bands. Sleater Kinney is better with parameters and limitations because you have something to push against. We like to get into a studio and work and have there be a little pressure on it. This is music, excuse me, this is music that needs to sound raw and urgent. And so we don't want to be in the studio for 2 months. I think we were probably in the studio for 20 days total, so twice as long as Dig Me Out. So not very long.
Okay.
Not very long. Yeah. And it wasn't snowing, but it was terrible weather. It was November in Portland, so it was dark and dreary, which is usually how we record all of our records.
Do you ever think like record in Jamaica or something?
Absolutely.
That's the opposite.
Absolutely.
We'd make a terrible record. We would make a terrible record.
But it's fun.
Most bands would make a terrible record. When a band just goes and they're there to just like sit in the sun half the day and be around a pool, that's not their best record. That's a record, but that's not their best record.
You need sadness, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of like, I need to feel bad. Yeah, I was in Seattle like 4 months ago, and it's easily to get depressed there. It's like, I mean, it's so beautiful, but the weather is like a thing. Do you think like it makes something to the music? Like,
Yeah, I think we have sort of a, atmospheric melancholy because of the Northwest. And, I think that is part of why music is so important to us up here, is because we're indoors. We have to be indoors all the time. And we need something to sort of give us a little like ray of hope in the darker months, especially. And so that's why music is something that we cling to so much.
yeah, can feel it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and girls, I remember. So we saw you at Corona Capital, and we saw you like 20 years ago in the Pearl Jam first time that they came. And I remember back then, I hope you remember that in those times that he used to put out a George Bush mask to play a song, and like at that time we thought like this world is too crazy. This cannot get worse. And now it's like it's 20 years later, and it's like, oh yeah, it's worse. So how does this new record, is there any of this, modern world like craziness? And it seems like the world is more closed than ever. Like you see crazy stuff in the internet, and it's like we thought it couldn't get worse, and it's actually getting worse. So, well, to my perspective, I don't know if you guys are more optimistic than I am, but what do you guys think about it?
No, it feels like things have gotten worse, and certainly progress that we thought was inevitable turned out not to be. I think Little Rope is a very, very much distills the present moment. There's a through line of anxiety. There's a through line of sorrow. There's a through line of clawing your way through pain, trying to find those glimmers of celebration or happiness, trying to make sense of a very existential and also very palpable crisis, I think. And you can hear the album wrestling with the unease that most of us feel on a personal level or on a broader societal level, and grappling with the uncertainty of life and a sense of kind of being in between two states, two emotional states that all of us find ourselves in. It's so precarious, to try to hold those two truths, to try to hold the reality of how awful it is. If you allow yourself to dwell even momentarily on the collective awfulness of the moment, but then at the same time to be able to enjoy a beautiful day or time with your partner or your friends, like that is such a dissonance that we all live with all the time. And I think this album conveys that sonically very much and lyrically.
Yeah. Do you
But
think sorry, go ahead.
no,
No. Okay, well, go ahead.
Sorry.
Some things. Do you think like the bands nowadays need to be more political, because it seems like music is not like a statement anymore? It's like doesn't have like any message at all. It's like it seems. But do you think like
Yeah.
new bands
I mean,
should like bring it on?
I think that, I'm kind of wondering what will happen in 2024, right? With because God help us, we're going through another election up here. And I wonder if things are going to break through at all for artists to say something, to just even ask people to vote and remind them it is going to matter, so, all we can do is be ourselves and be who we are. And if other people are inspired to join us, that's great. That's the hope,
Yeah, and also that's crazy because now with all this technology available, it seems like censorship is also bigger. So, I've seen this, people saying in the internet, like, okay, so I saw something like King Gordon posted something last week, which Instagram banned, and then also this fake news website, I'm sure you know it, the Hard Times, that puts like, ironic news, and it's like they
Yeah.
are getting censored, and it's like, okay, so you cannot actually, you Corin were saying just a minute before, like you have to be yourself, but it seems like you are, as times goes and as technology advances, you're gonna be less able to be yourself actually. Do you guys think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because technology is not politically agnostic, right? Like these are corporations. They are still run by people, and they are run by people with agendas. And those agendas are influenced by their stockholders and by their shareholders, and they are at the mercy of companies who buy ads for them. And so it's not just some impartial utopia, where we all get to express our ideas. If anything, it is just, I think they started out with that intention, these very idealistic, the tech people, I think, started out, with these good intentions. But at this point, they are just corporations. They reflect hierarchical societies. They reflect the capitalism that we are all sort of, most of us live under, those precepts. And now it just feels like the regular world, like it's not immune. We're not immune on technological platforms and social media platforms to the woes of society. If anything, it's just a digital version of how unequal everything is out in the real world.
Totally agree. And girls, when we can expect like a Sleater Kinney solo show here, because it's the right time, I think.
It's the right time. We agree. We are trying. Every interview we do in Mexico is a plea to bring us down. Bring us down.
Yeah.
We'll come.
Yeah.
We'll come. We want to play our own shows down there. We love the audience is there. Yeah. Just book us a show and we'll be there. You guys should book us a show.
You
Is it
say it.
expensive?
You say it.
It's expensive. Yeah.
It's expensive.
Do
Okay.
you want an orange? We can deal some stuff here.
Yeah, we'll have to make a deal. We'll have to
Yeah.
barter our way down.
Yeah. We'll just drive. We'll drive down in a van.
Can
Oh,
we
yeah.
trade like some gear?
Yeah, we'll trade gear. We'll trade gear.
Amazing.
I'm gonna have to hop off in a second to go into a meeting, but Corin can stay on if you need more.
No, we're done. Thank you so much.